The experience was very nice, to learn about stuff that when I was growing up in school, I knew nothing about these things I had just seen. And so I thank everybody that for preserving this here, and we have a young man on duty to give you the tour and teach you about what went on here and stuff. Because these things, I'm 73 years of age. And I don't know about this here, what you showed me and taught me today. So if they the diaspora wanna know and learn about what went on in that time period, Ghana kept records. And they kept the buildings. They keep them up now that we could come and visit them and see them and learn, to make sure we never allow this to happen again in life. To know about slavery in America, and they sure ain't gonna tell us nothing about no slavery in Africa.
Well, that's bad. That's bad. Bad. We are here in the Garden of Return, the Anomabo Garden of Return. Formerly, this garden was known as the Heroes Park, where we honored these three men. Yes, and in 2019, the place was renovated, and then the name changed from the Heroes Park to the Anomabo Garden of Return. That's after 400 years of slave trade. So in 2007, the former president, J.A. Kufuor, himself was here to unveil this plaque to launch the Ghana 50. This where it was marked before finally got to Accra. Because of the magnificent role that this gentleman played, that is why he came here to honor them. And they said that any country that does not honor its heroes is not worth dying for.
No.
So he thought it wise to get closer to them. And then they are all indigenous of Anomabo anyway. They are all indigenous of Anomabo. Dr. James Simon Kujogi was born in October 1875 and died in 1927 in Harlem, New York City. He had his basic education here in Ghana, here in Anomabo, and then he went to Infantipim School, formerly known as the Wesley Boys High School. From then he furthered to the Livingston College, and then he had his master's at the Columbia University. He was a girl child advocate. He advocated for the girl child education. He had one of his wise saying was, if you educate a woman, you educate a whole nation. If you educate a man, you educate one person. What was he trying to imply? What he was trying to say is, right after childbirth, is the woman that takes care of the child, to do things right, to put things right. So he believes that women are the best teachers. But when he had the opportunity, when he had the scholarship to the Livingston College, he saw that the whites were educating the female. But it wasn't like that in the Gold Coast. So when he came back, he said the surest way to keep the people down is to educate the men and then neglect the women, which he doesn't side with. So he told his dad, who was the chief linguist to Nana Amonu IV, that when I had the privilege to go to Livingston College, I saw both female and male studying in the same class. So it's because of him we have female professionals, doctors, engineers, and what have you. Yes, he taught the first president of this republic, Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He taught him at Achimota College. Again, he taught the first president of Nigeria, Nnamdi Azikiwe. He also taught him. He was married to Rosemary Rose Douglas in Harlem and had 4 kids with them. His mom is Mina Anua and his dad is Openyi Kojo Kweji, who is the chief linguist to Nana Amonu IV. And we asked that why didn't the president honor Nana Amonu the first, the second, the third, and then honored the fourth? He did that because of the impact that this man had on him. Because his dad was his chief linguist, anything he saw, he whispered to the dad, and the dad told the chief. So before Ghana eventually became got its independence, Ghana is the first in the whole of Africa to get independence in 1957. Yes. This man organized 15 other chiefs. They formed the Fanti Confederation, and it's the first political party, the Aborigines Rights Protection Society. And then they went to Edinburgh. They were telling the Queen to release the land. The Queen had wanted to take over the land. Ghana could have been like South Africa or Zimbabwe, where you have the white-owned lands. If you're a black man, you can't penetrate to the white lands. If you're a white man, you can't, vice versa, Okay. But this man said, no, Africa belongs to Africans. The land that you want to take away from us doesn't belong to me, Nana Amonu IV, neither myself nor any of the chiefs I came with, but belongs to the ancestors and the generation to come. So Queen Victoria, with all respect, we can't release the land for you like that. So because of they took lawyers from Sierra Leone to go and fight against that petition in 1897, a land bill was marked. And when this land bill was marked, that was to take back the land, because after the slave trade, after the abolishment of slave trade in the 18th century, the British were the first to abolish slave trade, followed by France. They wanted to take over the land. So they never did that alone. They did one Jacob was say, popularly known as Kwaboin. I don't know if you heard about him before.
No.
Yeah, he was not educated, but he was smart and was very wealthy. So he was the financier. Yeah. So anytime they went to Edinburgh, he had his own way of speaking. The equilibrium of the sea has nothing to do with Akasalism. That is, when the ocean is full, it doesn't have anything to do with the crab in the sand. Yes, he had his own ways of speaking, like to make the queen know that he knew exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's because of this man that we have 3 Victoria Parks, now known as the Jubilee Parks in Ghana. One was in Cape Coast, the other one was in Sopon, and the third one was in Koforidua. There was a tribal war. The Ashantis stood against the Fantis, and whenever they defeated the Fantis, instead of killing them, they decided to give them a second chance of living. So the Ashantis came here, defeated the Fantis, and then the British had direct access to the Ashantis. So they took away their golden stool. Now they wanted it back. They never knew where the whites were coming from. So they contacted Nana Amonu IV and then said, the whites that we saw in your land have taken away our golden stool. So what do we do? It's okay, I'll accompany you to Seychelles Island so that you go and bring the golden stool. And it's because of that it's been a history. For an official visit, an Anomabo chief must accompany him to the Seychelles Island. We can't do it all without mentioning Dr. Judge Ekim Ferguson.
Very good.
In this garden, I call him the second Jesus. Second Jesus, not because he was a Messiah, but because he died at the age of 33. He was beheaded.
Okay.
Yes. Because he had wanted to stop the slave trade. In fact, there were slave traders from the northern part of the region. Slave trade it didn't start only here in Ghana, but from neighboring countries, Niger, Chad, Mali, Burkina Faso, and stuff. And they all passed through the northern territory. So, Sir Gordon Gogisberg gave him an assignment. Ghana, we didn't have divided regions. It was only 4 regions: the northern, the southern, the Volta part, and then the coastal. So this man's duty or his job was to demarcate the regions. He also designed the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. He was born here. He had a twin sister who died during childbirth.
Okay.
Yes. He also had his basic education here. He furthered to Infantipim School. He furthered to Sierra Leone and then had a scholarship to Britain to study survey. And he was a geographer anyway. So he designed the Ghana map to us well. George Ekim Ferguson. When you hear names like Brew, Brown, McLean, McCoy, McCarthy, those are the British names.
Yeah.
So when you go to the Dutch, you hear Van Dyke, Van der Poy, Van Aers. Yes. During, in the 16th century, 1664 to 1665, there was an Anglo-Dutch war. When you go to the fort, I'll tell you much about that.
Okay.
Yes. So this man is a descendant of a British. It was a British, African British, right? His mom was a concubine. See on the floor there, we have the Ghana map. They are all standing on the Ghana map, as you can see. And that's one of the wonderful works of George Ekim Ferguson. In 1890, we can see that their faces are showing home. That is, they are coming home.
Right.
And behind the Ghana map is the Gulf of Guinea. That is the Atlantic Ocean.
Okay.
And that is exactly where the slave trade took place. So all these statues tells us that the countries that benefited from the slave trade. For instance, this one tells you that 400 years ago, their ancestors were taken to Trinidad and Tobago. This tall man tells you that their ancestors were taken to the United States of America. This one shows you that 400 years ago, they are now coming home. They were taken to Britain. And this one to Jamaica. The nice lady over there tells you the ancestors were taken to Brazil. You have so many countries. We have France, we have Barbados, we have English Guyana, Dutch Guyana, Suriname, Sri Lanka. So many countries benefited from the slave trade. But these are the only a few ones that the president erected to mark the year of return. Yes, and the year of this garden of return, you can never find it anywhere along the 43 castles and forts along the coastal lines, but right here.
How can you tell she was in England, Britain?
Yes, by the way she is dressed.
Okay.
By the way she is dressed.
And that's the way they dressed it?
Yes,
and this
casual.
The way the American dressed
That's
it?
right.
Okay.
By the structure, sometimes by the structure and the way they dressed.
Okay.
For instance, you can see this one as tall as he is. You want to watch the NBA, you can see the players,
Yeah.
quite strong, quite tall.
Yeah.
And on our walls too, we have the beautiful Edging signs with their meanings. This is truly purely Ghanaian because during the Gold Coast there was nothing like mobile phones, there was nothing like laptops, like tablets. So we use this as a mode of communication. Yes, to talk to each other. And